thank you for inviting me to your talk. And I think I want to start with where Professor Watanabe ended. Our archive, we just changed the name to Nihon Saikai Archive or Japan Disaster Special Archive, partly because originally the project was about the 3/11, the East Japan earthquake, tsunami, but we realized that it's ongoing things, and we would also like to cover the past disasters that have impact on the present one in the way that how people reacted, what kind of lessons they thought they learned. We just changed the name to Disaster Special Archive. What you're seeing here today is the renewed version of it. You might have seen the older versions, which I don't know if Molly is here already, but she was involved in it. When I came in, I inherited the old project, which had an issue with stability. So we had a good intentions. Like Professor Watanabe said, we had a great mission, but it was really hard for the users to use because it kept crashing, right? So they said, well, the Harvard has something interesting, but I can't use it, sorry. So after I came in, we had an opportunity to renew our archive to, basically to, have the stability. That was the goal. But, in order to find the vendor, developers that would work on the renewal project, actually gave us an opportunity to think about, what is it we want? What kind of audiences we would, hope this archive to be used. We have to ask the fundamental questions because, the professionals, we have this marketing mentality, right? They're like, well, just let us know, like, what kind of users do you want? Do you want the new users or like, researchers? Because that would change the design of the archive. And we're like, well, I don't know what we want. And we want all. And then they're like, no, you can't do that, right? So what you see here is somewhat more catered towards the new user, right? In the sense that, we try to make it intuitive, right? So that, even if you don't know what this is, you kind of know, where to click and, the color-coded stuff that the orange button would do something, take you to somewhere. But if you see this landing page, you see the assumption of the maker, right? If you have the website and has the search bar, what does it mean? Meaning that you know what you're looking for, right? You know the keywords to type. And we thought that was the case because, we're familiar with the disasters or the Japan, like we know what to put in here. But most of the case, like, 6 years after the disasters, many people don't even know about 3/11, right? We learned this from teaching a course in the archive, right? Teaching the young students trying to, learn about this thing, but we don't even know where it happened. Right? So they look at this and they said, well, I don't know what to type here. Right? So we have to think about a different way of visualizing the content we have, which is over million now. For example, we created this view where you can search stuff by images. Right? So even if you don't know, it's slow, you can say that, well, this image looks interesting, what is it? Right? Or we made it so that you can see the map, which is called the heat map, so you can kind of see the concentration of items within the geographical locations, right? And then when you click here, it shows the items geocoded around this area. So you kind of have a sense like, okay, I don't know what this is, like really, but I can see there are many stuff happening in this area. There must be something happening. So this is one of the, the important thing for JDA is that it's a discovery tool, like people to find out what this is, right? Even if you don't know. And another important thing for us is the participation, by participation, we mean is like what Watanabe Sensei was just talking about, which is maybe a violation of the librarian science in the sense because, when you, lend a book, you don't want the book to be, annotated by a different people, right? But for us, that's really important. The primary sources we offer is important in terms of archive as archive repository. We would like to preserve the digital materials. Vicky said, the born digital materials. We only deals with digital materials because if you don't preserve those things, they actually quickly die. The physical stuff actually lives longer than the digital one. Maybe you had experience of like going to the site and the link is dead, right? We try to preserve that using Internet Archive, and then I won't go into detail. Maybe you can do that in Q&A. But another important thing is that we want people to create something with what we have, which is what we call a collection. So there are the public collections that people use the archives to make. The collection is basically like the shopping bag, where you can put whatever you find in the archive based on the themes you think of. And this is from the course, and students was interested in the role of anime and manga related to 311. And you can see this orange part. That's something the student added after the fact, responding to each material. So this is kind of like the scratch that the student will put in the primary source, which is usually a big no-no. Like, don't make a mess with the book we have. We spend a lot of money, and we would like to preserve, but we want this kind of thing. The reason why we want this is going to be additional items that express the engagement and the activities of people responding to the digital materials we preserve. So I think this kind of reflects the organizational structure in the sense that the director of the project is a historian, very much interested in preservations of the primary sources, and importance of having that stuff. And he in fact said that he wanted to build this archive because he thought it was his mission to leave something for the future historian, right? And then I myself is an anthropologist. Anthropologist comes and that yes, the past is important, but also the present is important. The way people engages with the past also becomes a record for the future. So this kind of note features we added reflects the fact that we want people to engage with our data, which becomes additional data other people can work on. And this much you can use without registering to the archive. And once you have an account, can you use your account? No, I can't. So once you are inside the archive, what you can do is the feature called contribute. What contribute does is that if the user notices some website that he or she finds it helpful but not in the archive, you can just add that website to the archive, saying like, okay, you're missing this stuff and this is really important. And we have to put some stuff to move to the next step, but here another important part is you can put a tag, a keyword, to the archive, so the user themselves can contribute by making the metadata item richer and richer. And then you can do the same thing by going to the search engine, and then you click something, and then you can add a metadata to the existing data. So this is another present engagement that make the items different from what it used to be. But the whole goal is to see, what kind of items that people find it interesting in a different moment in time, and then that will reflect, who can find those data. So in a way, this archive is constantly evolving, because we make this thing available to people to really use it. And then, so far we find the best way to encourage usage is to use it in the classroom setting, where you teach a course on the disaster using this archive. And then one thing you can do is that you can have a course account with one email, and different people make a collection by, let's say, drag in, drop in, and then add into the shopping bag. And then say, okay, this is my collection. You can make a multiple collections and decide and say, this is student A stuff, B stuff, and C stuff. So the entire course can work on it. Or somebody like me instructing the course make a set collection, and then assign that to group, and then they all work in the same collection, duplicate it, and have them come up with a different way to present those things, where they have to add or omit materials. And that encourages a discussion among them instead of, why we started with the same collection, but it ended up completely different thing. What are kind of stuff that you looked, and that kind of creates a discussion stuff that So ultimately, the way we think about this archive is just in a tool and an opportunity for people to engage and to talk about the disasters. And this is, so in a sense, this is not the end product. We just want to have this so that people have an excuse to talk about either P311 or some other disasters, in your home or, different part of the countries. But, this is just a start. And then, I just want to say before, and this is open source. So if you have a database and you change some of the designs, you can use this scheme to make a similar sort of archive that has all these other features. So, that's the kind of direction we're going. We want to grow as a disaster archive, but we want to also grow as the model of the other digital archiving projects.